All right, lock that door, Craig.
What's this about, Cartman?
I've come up with a test that can determine if it was any of us who had the head lice. We're gonna find out once and for all who had head cooties. Lice feed on a person's blood, and just like mosquitoes, they leave behind small traces of their saliva in the host's bloodstream. That saliva is monochromagnetic. So if an infected person's blood is touched by this hot metal coil, say, that person's blood will jump 10 meters into the air. Really?
That's retarded. You didn't come up with that experiment, Cartman. You saw it in that movie, The Thing.
This is a scientific test designed to...
You saw it in The Thing, and you're wasting everyone's time.
I thought you might say that, Kyle. Because you don't want to take the test, do you?
Nobody's blood is going to jump up in the air.
If it isn't going to work, then what are you afraid of? The only person who wouldn't want to take the test is somebody who is worried it might work and reveal that they were the ones with lice.
Yeah, that's true.
I have no problem taking the test. I have nothing to hide. Yeah, me neither.
All right, fine. I'll do the dumb test.
Everyone take a petri dish and a syringe. We need at least 30 cc's of blood from each one of you. All right, now everyone back over there. We'll start with what I already know.
Well, guess that proves Eric wasn't the one with head lice. It doesn't prove anything.
Yeah? Let's just see what your blood does, Cal. Huh, I guess you're clean. You guys, we better go. Recess is almost over. It's all right, won't take much longer to... What the hell?
Kenny! No way. You were right all along, Eric. It was Kenny.
Of course I was right. I told you only poor people get lice.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Cinebeef Podcast.
Oh, excuse me.
And that's our guest host right there, see? And I am one of your hosts, Gary Hill. With me tonight is Suzanne. How you doing, girl?
Greetings. How is everybody tonight?
Fine. I'm not lady drunk, but I'm fine. I'm feeling fine, you know. Oh, my gosh. She got no comment to that at all. So that joke just fell to the floor and, you know...
Sorry.
It's collecting hair, you know, and it's nasty now. It's rancid.
Oh, no. Ow.
Speaking of not rancid things, Iris is here. How you doing?
Hello, hello, beautiful people. Doing good.
That's good. I didn't ask how you're doing, but I meant that deep down inside, you know.
Oh yeah.
We have a guest tonight. You heard his belch or whatever that was at the beginning of the show, and that's fine too. You know him from many, many shows, including one that I do with him. Mr. Derek Borgeois. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good, Gary. You know, that was my greatest introduction to a show ever, where I just couldn't hold it in. You know.
Now, if you farted and sneezed at the same time, that would be, you know, one of the best introductions, as long as it wasn't a shart, and that'd be embarrassing. Yeah.
Well, if you try to fart and sneeze at the same time, you're going to find yourself cleaning more of the house than you'd intended.
Oh, yeah.
Or you turn into a tentacle monster.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that would be a bonus.
It would be, unless there's a flamethrower involved.
Man. Oh, man.
Isn't that how they deal with hemorrhoids? They burn that shit? Literally. Okay, moving on.
It's a real pain in the ass. That's fine, though.
That could go down a rabbit hole there.
Man.
I'm starting to dig the rabbit hole, so I apologize in advance for anything that's coming out of my mouth tonight.
That's fine. I'll ask our guest the same question I ask everybody. What you been watching, Derek?
Nothing really, you know, like, been watching a lot of rewatch stuff. Like, I watched Dredd the other night. Love that movie with a passion. It's great. Carl Urban as Dredd just kicks ass. Just the aesthetics alone. It's very stylistic. It's written by Alex Garland, of course, who would later do like Ex Machina and Annihilation. He wrote 28 Days Later and Sunshine for Danny Boyle. Yeah, I dig the hell out of it. You know, Leanna Headley's amazing as Mama. Great bad guy role. And it's just action nonstop. I like that. It's just, you know, it's weird because this came out the same time as The Raid, and they're kind of similar storylines, but I like it because it's a good introduction movie for Dread. You know, it sets up like how this town is and how the judges work and stuff like that. And instead of folding too much into it like the Stallone movie did, which I still enjoy the Stallone movie to some extent. It's a guilty pleasure. It's nostalgic, but I kind of like this one more better because it's more aesthetically pleasing if you're a fan of the original comic that Dread's based off of. But overall, that's about it. And just rewatching some other stuff like I tried to get into Yellow Jackets, that new series. I'm one episode in. It's a slow burn show. It's very interesting. I do like that it cuts between the past events and the modern day events of what the event that happened that involves with the main characters, which is about I think it's a girl soccer team or volleyball team. I forget what team they played because I only watched one episode, of course, and they get their plane crashes because they were going to like some like event or game or something, and they end up stranded in these woods, and it tells like that story, what's going on through flashbacks, while the modern day story happens where there's like this mystery where, pretty much what I'm leading to believe that something happened in the woods and we're going to find out what it was. But somebody found out about what happened in the woods and is fucking with these girls in the modern time, which is interesting. It has a cool cast. It's got like Juliette Lewis and Christina Ricci in it, which I forget the actress's name, but she played like Rose on 2.5 Men. She's in it too, and she has a mouth on her in this show. She swears up a storm. It's great.
Melanie Linsky is the actress's name.
Yeah. But I'm curious. I only watched one episode, but see how it goes.
That's on Showtime, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Cool. Suzanne.
Well, I really haven't watched a whole lot lately. I just I've been kind of watching serial killer shows. I was watching this thing on Hulu about this time in LA when there were 4 serial killers actively working. The Sunset Strip killer, basically the dating game killer, the Skid Row slasher, the Skid Row stabber, and the Hillside Stranglers. So for some reason, for the past couple of months, it's been all about the serial killers. For some reason, I find that I just find the story is interesting. I'm just finishing up a book about the Wonderland murders. I know that Iris probably knows a lot about this as well.
Yep.
The John Holmes one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I've been watching is called City of Angels. It was a 6-part series that I think ABC did. And they had one of, I think his name was Bob Souza, talking about a couple of these murder cases that were mentioned in the book I'm almost finished reading. So if you're interested in that, City of Angels on Hulu. And there's one I want to talk about. I love a good shark movie. I love it. Animals attack movie. But I've seen one that I absolutely fucking hate with a passion, almost as much as I hate The Meg. It's called Great White, and it's on Shudder. I'm sorry. Everything that's good about a shark movie, this movie completely missed out on. The characters, all of the good characters die, and you're left with these 2 fucking morons. So, I mean, hey, watch it if you want to, but this movie was a complete waste of my time. And Gary actually watched this movie with me, and I think you kind of agreed with me on most of this. Hello?
I was on mute. I agree that it's not very good, but and it's predictable as all hell. But then again, most of these shark movies are. You can't really do nothing about that. They're really a dime a dozen at this point. And
I know, but this one I really wanted to engage with just because I did. But it was they found new and exciting ways to make every part of the movie unwatchable. And I'm really sorry. I just wanted to bring that movie up because I really hate it.
There's a part of this movie where they're floating on a rescue raft trying to get to where they're going after the shark has destroyed their boat. But you're just waiting for the shark to say, "Okay, waiting for my time, just ravage this raft, but he never really does. Until like the very time that the one has to escape, or in this case, the two have to escape. I won't say which two, but the shark should have destroyed this raft long before that.
Yeah, it was, like I said, everything that could possibly be wrong with a shark movie. This movie managed to hit each and every one of those notes. And I'm really pissed about it because I love shark movies. I'm highly disappointed in this movie. I expected a hell of a lot more than I got. Please go back to the drawing board, and I'm sorry. So you may want to cut your feed right now if you've not seen this, because spoiler alert coming, the two fucking stupid people live.
Suzanne, that was a quality raft, though. That's the why they lived. You know. That was
Okay, I am done ranting, and I apologize. You know what? No, I don't. Fuck this movie and fuck everyone involved.
It looked like the same material that the Wonder Wheel was made out of in the toy. You know, Richard Pryor just like going around and around that thing, but that got a hole in it real fast too, though. Man, we're gonna do the toy one day. It's gonna get racist and weird, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I seen Great White too, and yeah, I kind of agree with you. Fuck that movie.
It's fucking terrible. You know, you go in with these expectations. There was a fucking fantastic one that. What was the one in the mall with motherfucker? I cannot never remember the name. Thank you. This movie was fantastic. Everything, I loved it.
Sharks in a supermarket, yeah. You know, it's great.
It was fucking awesome. This movie sucked out loud. I highly not recommend Great White.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me? It reminded me of a more bland version of The Reef. With a shittier ending.
The Reef had its moments, but they were few and far between.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm sorry, I'm done.
No, you're okay. Iris.
Really haven't been watching movie-wise, but oh my God, I've been catching up on the hot mess called Below Deck. And I have been catching up on the Dead Files, because those are...
I have to ask about this Below Deck obsession. I have to ask about this. What is the obsession with white people on boats? I can't get into it, man, you know?
Well, you know, it's not the white people on boats, it's the crew, and I stare at these people and like, the fuck? Are you that dumb? And then I think, you know, had I known that this was a thing when I was a kid, I would have been on those boats and I would have been retired and so rich right now.
Yeah, they make some money on them boats. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, they make money.
My sister watches it, but then again, she believes that the people on The Masked Singer are actually singing those songs. I was like, they're wearing giant fucking heads. How can you tell if they're actually singing these songs, Shanna? Come on now,
you know. Yeah.
Well, I've been turning on the Dead Files, Ghost Adventures, and a couple of different ghost shows while I'm at work. I'm a bartender. I work 9 to 5. I've got the day drinkers and the day gamblers. And 9 times out of 10, when I'm watching, it's like, do you believe in this? Depending on the personality, I will either play it up or play it down. Like, nah, I just find this kind of interesting. Then you get that real superstitious person in there, and you can fuck with them so bad. Mm-hmm. If my boss ever hears this, I'm probably fired, which wouldn't be a bad thing right now. But I had someone so spooked, because we do have a ghost where I work. I set something down on the bar. I turned my back and it was gone. And I turned the bar upside down. An hour later, it was sitting in the middle of the bar where I'd wiped over 10 times. We had a chair just start dancing around one day, and we're going, okay, what the fuck is that?
Wow.
So the ghost stuff is so much fun at work.
It is the holiday season, so they put a hat on the chair, so I was dancing around, you know?
Well, we're closed for the next 2.5 weeks, so.
Frosty the Snowman, you know?
Yeah.
No,
Happy birthday.
I'm so sorry, Iris. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no. Let's see what else have I been watching. Of course, I knew 90 Days Before the 90s started, so gotta watch that fucking hot mess. So yeah, I'm just watching a whole bunch of hot mess to feel better how I live.
No, reality
So,
TV.
yeah.
Reality TV. Yeah.
It's good for the soul, man. It makes you. It builds up confidence.
Ugh.
It lets you know that somewhere, somehow, there is someone whose life is a lot more fucked up than yours.
Exactly, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me too.
but they have no shame though, so they're on TV. I think that's
That's how we get Honey Boo Boos.
man.
Yes, indeedy.
Honey Boo Boo. That child's gonna be a Jacksonville strip club waitress before you know it. You'd be all good, you know.
If she isn't, as we speak.
Either that or she's selling crack.
Well, yeah, there's that. There's always the crack
Well,
game.
there's that. And I was there.
Yeah.
Always the crack. Or well, in her case, the meth game probably. Who knows? It could be a Florida thing. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Look, she might be on ice for all we know.
Oh man, what have I been watching lately? I forgot to mention it last time, so I'll mention it this time. Go to Hulu and watch Hit Monkey. This is an animated show.
I've been meaning to watch that.
Yes, it is about a guy who's an assassin who was killed in the mountains in Japan amongst a group of apes, and they all die except for one of their
monkeys.
Yeah,
right.
and they
There's
all
one monkey that like picks up his gun and stuff.
Yeah, they all get shot and killed along with the assassin. So the monkey has to get revenge for his monkey family whilst being followed around by the ghost of this assassin. So this has a monkey that has a samurai sword and a gun, is just killing folks brutally. And this is animated, and you guys should watch it because it's fun. And it's got a monkey with a samurai sword doing stuff. And yeah.
And who would watch that?
Who would not want to watch that?
Does Willis know about this?
Willis should know about
Oh,
that.
it's Marvel.
It is a Marvel series, yes. What else have I been watching? I've been watching a bunch of Children of the Corn sequels because Duncan willed it. And you know what? They're not all terrible so far because I'm like 7 in of the movies, but with the exception of the first 3, which they have genre people in the first one, but not so much the second and third one. Those pretty much stand on their own as being pretty decent, but once you get into the other ones, you kind of got to try a little harder. And the way they do that is they get good genre actors to be in these Children of the Corn sequels to like carry the weight of these donkeys to make them a little bit better. And you get that in the fourth one with Naomi Watts and Karen Black in that movie, and the next one you get David Carradine and Fred Williamson in that movie. Just chewing that scenery, David Carradine in that movie. It's phenomenal. And then he dies hilariously. But yeah, they're not bad through 6. Now when I got through the 7th one, which involved like a apartment complex that was next to a cornfield and some kids doing some shit. And
Oh yeah.
and Michael Ironside shows up. The version I was watching, the sound went out about halfway through. So it must have been a sign from He Who Walks Behind the Rose not to finish it. Okay? So I don't know. I couldn't tell you what happens next. It's just, it must have been a sign to say, hey, don't watch any more of this movie. It's dog shit. But it's got Michael Ironside in it, so I might actually go back and look for it again. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Besides that, stuff for shows, and so I've been getting back in the swing of things with that, and I'm happy about that, guys. But yeah, go check out those sort of worthy Children of the Corn sequels if you could find them. Don't go searching under any tombs or rocks or anything for them. If you have them available to you, check them out and listen to Duncan's massive retrospective shows. I think he just released the second part of it today with Isaac's return on there. Yeah, that gets pretty stupid, but in a wonderful way with Isaac's return.
I'm actually on the one that was released today. The retrospectives. I did Children of the Corn 4 with him.
Nice. Yeah, it's decent. I actually like the story of that one. With if you don't know, the kids get possessed because they all get sick all at once and become disciples of He Who Walks Behind the Rose. After that, and the guy it has a kill in there where a guy gets bisected by a hospital cart.
Yeah.
And it's kind of badass. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, and fucking the guy who plays like older Matt Damon, Saving Private Ryan's in the beginning. He's the one who wakes him up like Rawhead Rex style in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And he gets fucking killed with like these rakes. It's great.
Oh, it gets weird, guys. They're fun. That's about it for me. Go ahead.
Can I toss one more movie in there? I am so sorry, Gary.
Go for it.
Well, we did one on NFW called Christmas Blood. It was Norwegian. I was so completely blown away by how good this movie was. It was a straight up Christmas slasher movie. If you get a chance, go find Christmas Blood.
Yeah, it's a good one. I actually have the DVD of that. I got it to review when it first came out from Arsploitation Films. And yeah, it was pretty great from what I remember. It's been a while since I watched it.
We did more of a pod listen, or at least I did, just because it was the story was compelling as hell. Thank God it was subtitled on top of subtitles, so I could sit and not talk about the movie while reading the movie. But I was really surprised. I need to add this to my collection. And I think someone from Dead Snow worked on this as well.
That makes sense. I know one of the main cops was he was one of the Norwegian dudes in The Thing prequel.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I recognized him when I was watching. I'm like, yeah, that's the dude from the Thing prequel. Yeah, because I got to see a lot of those actors later on. Like the one that was the redheaded Norwegian dude in The Thing prequel was actually in Game of Thrones later on. So it was like, oh, I see all these guys from, it's weird when you see other people from other movies and stuff and other shit. It's like, oh, I know.
Oh, yeah. But I honestly, I was surprised. This was a nudie pick, and he usually, him and I used to differ so completely on movies, and lately in the past probably 2 years, we have kind of met in the middle, and he's liking a lot of stuff that I like. I'm liking a lot of stuff that he likes. Christmas Blood, killer movie.
Christmas Blood.
I have to look that up.
I got a beef with wrestling fans, and it comes up a lot on NFW. It'll come up here too. If you're a fan of wrestling and you feel you can't like both things, you can like both things. But it just proved how toxic these people are. After Wednesday night, they had AEW Dynamite on. And if you watch wrestling in the 70s, this happened a lot. So you're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, but it is a big deal now. Bryan Danielson, a.k.a. Daniel Bryan from the WWE, fought Hangman Adam Page for the title. I know it's sports entertainment. The results are predetermined, so don't talk to me about that, guys, if you're listening. But those guys fought. There was no winner because it was a 60-minute time limit. They fought for a whole hour, working their asses off, and people were complaining about this. I was like, just get over yourselves. So you got to watch an hour of, two technicians do the thing. Who gives a fuck if there was a winner? So if you're a toxic person, as far as like, oh, you can't like this, but you can like that. Willis, sometimes I'm talking to you, my friend. Get over it, okay? Just don't do that, man. These guys are out there on the road. They're working, and it's annoying to look at after stuff like that happens.
Oh, it's the same thing with like fucking some of the horror groups we're in, man. Like when you ever make your opinion about a movie, like everyone's like bashing it, like I liked it, like and like, oh, why did you like that? How could you like that? I'm like, it's the same thing. All fan groups have some toxicity in them now. It's fucking nuts.
I've left several horror groups because of that. I'm in one horror group, and it's not really just horror. It's, basically sleaze, exploitation, smatterings of porn. but it's a large group of incredibly intelligent people. I've been in this group for, it has to be over 5 years. I'm not going to say it out loud because you can't get there unless you have an invite.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, we've had amazing conversations. My God, we were joking about, you know, for certain movies, getting a patch. And only people in this echelon could get a patch. I mean, we were joking about a very vile movie, but it is what it is. And like trying to figure out, oh, that would be an embryo. Like, wow, we are a bunch of sick, sadistic motherfuckers, aren't we? But no one called anybody out. We all just had a conversation about the movie as it was. I'm so glad I have this group because there are, I like I said, the people just jump on their little high horses and instead of actually trying to discuss a movie, want to tear down your opinion. And that's not what we're all about.
Besides Dumplings, Dumplings is a very good movie.
Yeah, it's nasty though. It's not one that I can watch too often because
it's a great day movie. That's when you know then they're keepers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I have to admit, I have not been able to go back to a dumpling house in a very, very long time.
Yep.
That's true, too.
There might be a fetus in there. You don't know.
That's right.
Regain our youth, though.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I just realized my friend picked me up because they just wanted a little vape. Yeah, I just realized she gave me a THC one.
There you go. This would be a very interesting show.
The plot thickens.
Did she give you some fetus-filled dumplings, though, with dinner, though?
Watch Suzanne. Watch her closely.
Oh, my God. What the fuck?
Because, you know...
Oh, well, this is definitely going to be interesting because now I have all kinds of things to talk about.
I'm all about...
Suzanne is the Palmer of this podcast.
I'm all about her body, her choice. So if you want to have an embryonic dumpling, you can go eat that shit. You know, that's fine.
Oh, God. But no, this group, I love everybody. Like I said, they're just an amazing group of people, and no topic is taboo. You want to sit and talk about a Serbian film? We'll sit and talk about a Serbian film.
Another great day movie.
Yeah, and we all kind of agree that Human Centipede was. Yeah, I was led down by Human Centipede. I'm not afraid to say that.
You know what Dumplings needs? We just recorded earlier, me, Derek, and Suzanne. It needs Michael Constantine from Thinner just to be there next to one and say,
yeah.
You go ahead. You eat your dumpling.
Dumplings. With Windex.
eat your dumpling.
Chaser.
It's your embryo. You eat your embryo. You eat it.
Then you can go feed her.
Oh,
feed her.
Oh my God! I'm in the.
And then just Joe Montana comes out of nowhere.
This is where we get banned from Legion for talking about freaking fetus dumplings. You know, yay! No, not really. I don't want to do that. So, if we offended somebody, sorry, not sorry. You can't take comedy. You know, I am down with your body, your choice, though. So if that means anything to you, then I hope you understand that. You know, it's Oh.
Wow.
Let's get past abortion laws and talk about some films, shall we? Pick 2 films tonight where it's cold outside and you're isolated and you have a shapeshifter in some sort of way. And we picked Horror Express and The Thing from 1982, the John Carpenter Redux, which is a nice blend of the original Thing from Another World and his own thing, you know. But we'll get into all that when we get to it. We're gonna kick it into Horror Express first. Got to get on that train, baby, and ride the trailer.
For 2 million years in these subterranean caves, a creature of superhuman evil was entombed in a wall of ice, waiting to be free, waiting to live again. Travel with us on a journey into a world where nightmare becomes reality.
Are you telling me that an ape that lived 2 million years ago got onto that crate, killed the baggage man and put him in there?
Yes, I am. It's alive. It must be.
Travel with us, if you dare, on the Horror Express.
We'll search the train and find it, whatever it is, and destroy it. But if it's alive... I want this kept quiet. I don't want to panic the passengers.
The malignant power of this creature is indestructible, transferring its force from mind to mind, from body to body.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him. You think evil can be killed with bullets? Satan lives.
The animal that you shot was only the host. It's alive in someone on this train.
You saw his eyes. One look at them and you're dead.
Anything that moves near that door, kill it!
Run. Run for your life. Hide, but you can't escape. No one can stop the fury and the terror of the Horror Express.
Horror Express from 1972 stars some great people. Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, some Spanish folks that we'll get into later. Yeah, there's a lot of those in this freaking movie. And your other main star, why are you not listed in the main thing here? You're slacking, IMDb. Telly Savalas shows up in this movie and steals the show.
Oh, yeah.
And then dies unceremoniously. But if you haven't seen it, the plot synopsis is this. While traveling on the Trans-Siberian Express, an anthropologist and his rival must contain the threat posed by the former's cargo, a prehistoric ape, which is the host for a life form that is absorbing the minds of the passengers and crew. He's got a furry hand going on. It could be some real fetishist shit right there. But that's kind of sexy. But I'll kick it to our guest first. Derek, Horror Express, what do you think about it, sir?
Oh, I always loved this movie, man. First time I ever seen this was, I think, because this movie was in the public domain for so many years. You used to have, like, you could find it in, like, the dollar DVD bins and, like, a budget DVD and different versions and different companies put this movie out with the shittiest covers ever. Like, there's a legit one where it's just Telly Savalas' eyes laying on the floor. But, yeah, not the best cover in the world. But, yeah, I always dug the fuck out of this. I just like how the story progresses. I love how, you think it's just this creature, but then you find out this creature's more than meets its own self because it's a interdimensional being from another world. And actually, it kind of, I would actually pair this also with Quatermass in the Pit because, you have like that interstellar dimensional being that comes at the end of that movie. It's kind of reminiscent of this one. And, it has some Lovecraft vibes to it where this creature came from or where this being came from, per se. And, both actually deal with Quatermass in the Pit and this actually deal with maybe the devil was based on something else because they talk about fallen angels in both. And, the reveal of that movie, it's actually Martians that came to Earth. But in this one, it's like, is this thing the devil or is it not? You don't know. You just know that the priest thinks that it's the devil. And, growing up with it, I actually got to watch a lot more Spanish cinema and a lot more of Eugenio Martin's work, because he did another movie that I love called Candle for the Devil with Judy Geeson. And it's a great movie, very different. But also this movie is co-written by two Blacklist writers who also wrote the screenplay for Psychomania. That crazy, weird movie. You can tell it's from the same writer as this movie. And the charismatic chemistry between Cushing and Lee in this one. I always love when I hear the story of how this movie came about. And, Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee actually told Peter Cushing to do this movie with him because Cushing's wife just actually recently passed away during this. And you could just see the charismatic of their friendship in the acting in this movie. It's fucking great. And then, of course, I got to give another shout out to, before I get to Telly, because I think we're all going to talk about Telly a lot. I want to give a shout out to Helga Linné, who's a Spanish horror actress that I recognize from a ton of Paul Naschy films. I always loved her in those movies, and she's great in this. She plays Natasha. She's like kind of like that spy chick that kind of gets it later in the movie. But I dig everything about this movie. It's great. I love the score. The score's awesome, done by future Kojak composer himself. What's his name? Let me look this up. John Kakavas. I believe that's how you pronounce that. I probably said that wrong, but whatever. But then there's Telly Savalas, which, like, the first time I watched this, I'm like, where's Telly in this movie? And then he comes, and it's the greatest introduction to a character ever. He comes with like three women in a haystack, like, hey, and then he just waving his acting dick all throughout the rest of the movie. It's great. I love this movie with a passion. It's great atmosphere. I love the train set. And this might be controversial because I don't know, but this is probably the best horror film set on a train. You get, Terror Train later on, which is pretty good. I like Terror Train, but I think this one's fucking awesome.
You know what a pretty good one is Howl. That's a werewolf on a train movie. And
I do like that one too, yeah.
I'm not saying it's as good as this, but it's worth your time. I think Howl's worth your time.
Yeah, I like Howl.
Oh, boy. Iris.
All right, so this movie. God, I fucking love this movie. This is the first time I've watched this. And it just blew me away. First of all, the music, of course, you can clearly tell it's one of those Spanish-Italian movies because of the music in it. Beautiful score, right? At the beginning, I was like, am I fucking watching The Hunger Games? What's this? Because, the little tune. Yeah, but as the movie progressed, I was like, okay, I see the theme here that Gary's going with. And this movie, I mean, as much as it all of a sudden, it's like, boom, we're throwing science at you. And it was just lovely. There's not too many movies that I know of that will actually, use something like forensic optography to try to move the narrative along. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, you have my fucking attention now. And it did before, because anytime Cushing and Lee are on the screen, I mean, fuck, it's like you were saying, Derek, it's that chemistry, right? It's just so beautiful to watch these two actors, just act off of each other. It's just, I don't know, it's just so beautiful to watch, right? And then Mr. Honcho himself, Telly shows up, and anytime Telly shows up, he eats up the screen. But for me to have three of these actors in a scene all at once, and to be able to have the confidence of not feeling that they have to outact each other, that just shows you how classy and how confident these guys are. not only of themselves and what they can do, but also of how well they all work together. I mean, because that just blew me away. And then, of course, there's that feel of, well, kind of like in Prince of Darkness, right? Evil became something very tangible in that movie. Again, here you have this. So is it really the devil, or does the devil even really exist? Or is it just, how man tries to explain things, right? Because they have no other explanation. So you make shit up. And being that religion has this tendency, especially the Judeo-Christian, well, more the Christian than the Judeo, have a tendency of, snatching up just folklore from other places and basically grabbing it and declaring its own and saying, well, this is how things happened. Yeah, you can clearly see that, well, the devil could have been something like that, So, yeah, I really, really enjoyed this movie. And this is going to be something that I'll revisit quite a few more times because it's so well done. The acting's great. The monster is, not the greatest monster, but it's effective. And yeah, as soon as the lights go out, somebody's going to be dying. So yeah, great flick.
Before we move on, I just wanted to. I love that you brought up Prince of Darkness because if you didn't know, Iris, actually, Prince of Darkness is Carpenter's love letter to the Quatermass series too. So
yes,
yeah, because it's very reminiscent. If you watch Quatermass in the Pit and Prince of Darkness, there's a lot of similar themes throughout those two movies, which is also in this movie too. Which it's great, and I'm glad that we're mentioning all this. And I'm kind of fanboying out right now. It's great.
Oh no! Please, fanboy. He has and of course, then we're going to be just discussing a John Carpenter film. Next, it's just this beauty of going back to the roots of things and how these directors, these people, just they totally respect where everything came from, whether it be literature or an older movie. You can clearly tell, and I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree. I love that these actors don't act each other because they don't need to, because we have Rasputin priest.
Right, and then you have that Rasputin guy, right?
Yeah, he's fucking nuts.
Yeah, and it's beautiful too, because it's kind of like every like ultra villain has his nemesis and he has his Renfield, right? That lackey, that bootlick that will do everything and anything asked because they are hoping for a slight favor from their overlord that is going to put them in the same position. Well, that's never going to happen. But yeah, this movie has everything that it needs to be a very effective gothic sci-fi. Because I don't think this of a horror movie. I think it more of like a gothic sci-fi type of thing that had disappeared for a very long time and didn't come back to the screen until, like Alien. So, yeah, I really, really enjoyed this movie. And I'm glad I know about this movie now.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Suzanne.
Okay, this movie has shown up on so many box sets that I have. And I remember kind of watching bits and pieces of it growing up. But I'm going to just kind of everyone has covered a lot of different things. I'm going to cover my favorite parts of the movie. I absolutely love the Rasputin character. I mean, they nailed it right down to the Russian count and countess with this. I shall have to go pray for forgiveness for basically telling your wife she's a fucking whore. And the charisma between Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, they really don't outact each other. They just share space in a beautiful kind of way. But one of my favorite aspects of this movie is I love it because I see it in a lot of different Italian movies. I love quack science. I love it so very much. I love the autopsy when they open up the brain pan and the skull and the brain is smooth. And they're going through and looking through the eyeball. And Argento used that in Four Flies on Grey Velvet. And just kind of taking images from the eye of things that were saw. I'm like, that is Earth from space. What kind of new character? What is this? I love the use of science in this movie. I love the quack science. I think Telly Savalas rips the fucking screen up from the very first shot you see of him with like 2 or 3 women, and you know he's banging them. And he's, well, Captain will be there. I am the captain. And he is literally just Telly Savalasing all over the place.
And his fucking outfit.
Oh God, I'm sorry, but if I had that outfit, I would fucking take my dog for a walk in it 3 times a day. There is a Lovecraftian aspect to this. When you look at those scenes, when you just see the train from above, all I see in my mind's eye is Mountains of Madness. They're basically on a train going nowhere except to death and destruction. I enjoy every fucking frame of this movie. And it's the fact that it was public domain is, I'm so glad it was, because it kind of found an audience that way. But there is so much more to this movie than meets the eye. You have got so many great references. And as Iris pointed out, there's a lot of science here. I mean, it may not be like normal science, but they are puzzling things out. They're autopsying. They are looking at the eye. They are going through everything. But it's kind of not really for the time gory moments, but you've got a little bit of everything in this movie. I'm sorry. I love seeing Telly Savalas walking around with a fucking cutlass. This really did something for me. This is one of those movies that I really hope has not completely been forgotten, because it shouldn't be. And now the resurgence in all of this Lovecraftian horror and Lovecraftian, and I hate saying Lovecraftian over and over. If you've read any amount of Lovecraft, most modern horror has some aspect of Lovecraft in it.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, you're just really, I swear, when I see them going along, the freaking tundra, it's like, okay, they're on the plateau of Lang, and they've got basically the missing link, which is basically an alien with them. It's just a fun. It is a fun movie, but I find this movie each and every time I watch it just a touch more interesting. Something will pop out that's going on in the dialogue that I missed on a prior watch.
Yeah.
It's there is, like I said, there is so many layers to this. I mean, I didn't even want to do the acting beside the point, but the story. There is something incredibly, at least for me, compelling, and I want more.
And as also you're saying there about, it has a little bit of everything. It's even a little racy. I mean, there are some innuendos that are just like tossed in there, like
yes,
when they're gonna go do the autopsy, and he goes up to the doctor, the female assistant, and he says, I'm going to need help with her. And she's like, well, of course, at your age, Are you trying to say that you're, wait, huh?
I really like that. Yeah, I really like that female assistant too. And, when I first, I was shocked when, she gets it. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I didn't expect that, because she seemed to be not a central or a key character, but she was part of the main story, right? She was the assistant to
she was a
Cushing's
block
character. Right, right. So
I love when at the beginning, I mean, and he's like, well, she's the best bacteriologist. And
girl.
and she's like, yeah, for a woman. And Christopher Lee just has that like standard.
Right? It's just that look. It's kind of like, your mother's look. When you get that mother's look, you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I know.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. But sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that was just that moment.
Oh, I know. I didn't mean to go and jump in on everyone. But like I said, it's so, I find it incredibly wonderful that we all found just a certain aspect of this movie that we found absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. And another thing that I forgot to mention about the score when I mentioned it, I love that the main theme is the whistle that the creature whistles.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful because it's already setting up that thing of where they're like, well, it's remembering everything. It's taking those memories. It's taking everybody's wrinkles out of their brain. So therefore, that explains why he would be whistling.
Yeah.
It's like that thing when you're watching the scene when he's, they're in the storage, the whatever the fuck that thing is. You know what I'm talking about.
On the train?
And yeah, on the train, yes. Where, the cargo hold.
There you go.
And thank you. It's been a long night. And all of a sudden you see him popping screws and nails out and bending them. Because when I watched it last night, I haven't watched it in maybe 10 years. And it's like one of those movies, over time you kind of glide over certain aspects of it. But I kind of watched it almost for the first time again last night. And you see him popping out the screws and bending them and playing around. Like, okay, if you're a fucking caveman, how the fuck can you pick up? Oh, wait, I got you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, that's what's so cool about it. It doesn't leave you hanging. It answers the questions. It wraps everything up in a really nice bow and presents it to you.
Yeah, especially when you find out the first victim was the locksmith.
Yeah. And that's why all of a sudden that scene totally made sense to me after I've seen this maybe 4 times. And like I said, I guess it's just one of those things. I caught this and I've seen the beginning, the middle, and the end. Maybe I just never watched them in a complete row and missed certain aspects. But I'm like, the end of the movie, like I said, it was like watching it for the first time. That was absolutely fucking fascinating. And now that question is answered for me.
If you girls really love this movie, you got to pick up the Arrow Blu-ray. It looks gorgeous.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think YouTube didn't look too bad.
No, the one that I watched actually looked, because I watched it on Shudder instead of watching one of my Mill Creeks. It was on Shudder, and honestly, it looked great.
Yeah, that's probably the Arrow transfer. I know Shudder and Arrow usually share some titles.
Yeah, this film had kind of like a big resurgence because of Shudder. People started watching it and talking about it, which is always a good thing. When people bring up horror films that maybe not a lot of folks have seen, and that's always great. And me myself, I think this film sucks balls royally. It's not very good at all, and everything you guys said is wrong about it. No, I'm playing it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
I was about to hang up on you, man.
Man, oh man.
No.
I was gonna disinvite you from Christmas.
Man. There's a lot of you can tell these guys work together a lot. Cushing and Lee, because the chemistry's there, and I love the rivalry aspects of it. Like Christopher Lee thinks he found the greatest scientific find of all time. They always think that, and
the missing link.
The missing link, yes, and Dr. Wells is there, kind of goating him a little bit. I kind of like that aspect of this movie, and the creature is minimalistic. I discussed this somewhere else, to where you have the creature, which basically all you see is a pair of red eyes and like a furry hand. That's how you know the creature is when he comes, and they had enough sense to say, hey, budget is a thing, and we don't want to look stupid, so we're just going to have these glowing red eyes and this furry hand, so you know when the creature's going to show up. And like Ira said, the science stuff really holds it together. How the creature could be so smart, all this time is literally cleaning somebody's brain pan with each kill, and gaining their wisdom and gaining their power and
sucking
that's
sucking the brain pan dry.
There you go.
And taking all of the wrinkles out.
Really works in this movie. And Telly, just plowing those young ladies in the most cramped spaces. I think he's the MVP in this movie from that aspect alone. Because, you don't see what's going on underneath that big coat, but you'd imagine he's getting it in with these young ladies. And, because he's the captain, and
he's Telly.
I'm the captain.
Who loves you, baby?
Oh man. But yeah,
I really want to make a joke about the lollipop, but I just can't.
Yeah. the setting is great on this because it's not like in Terror Train they're able to stop the train and look around. Yeah. Here they're literally like on a mountain on this train, and they can't really stop anywhere, so they're stuck on this train with this creature. They can't stop, and I kind of dig it quite a bit, and I love the spy saboteur angle of this to say, hey, these old stuffy British dudes came on this train full of Asian people and Spanish people. What's in the box, kid? And they find out what's in the box, and they let it out, and all hell breaks loose, and everything you guys said, because it's been a lot discussed already, and has a pretty satisfying ending. What else can I say? You guys can go watch this on Shudder or on YouTube or whatever you guys choose. Better print on Shudder, obviously, and apparently AMC Plus if you have that. I'll look for some quickie info if I could find any, because I remember having this on quite a few compilation DVDs too before it got good stuff, good releases. Yeah, you mentioned the wife's death. What we got here? Yeah, fueled by frequent airings on TV through the 70s and 80s, because public domain, like Derek said. Filmed in December 1971, the first Christmas for Peter Cushing since the January 14th of his wife. Christopher Lee's family made as warm an affair as possible for Cushing, so he can grieve his wife. Yeah, despite the freezing working conditions and abominable food, this movie provided one of the few co-starring roles where the two actors got to work in unison rather than opposing one another, which is, unusual, because usually one's, if you watch the Hammer horror films and other horror films like that, they're always against each other. So it's kind of nice they're working together on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, this makes sense. Most of the movie was shot without audio recording. The soundtracks and dialogue were all added in post-production. Which, if you watch the ADR, it's pretty flawless in that sense. So there's that. Gotcha. Telly was paid $22,000 for a short stint in the movie, and delighted to have him for the
earned.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he used the cash to get a 7-year lease on a West End apartment for him and his then girlfriend. So there's that. Adapted from the same movie we're going to talk about next, Who Goes There by John W. Campbell Jr. So, what else we got here? Ooh, there's some other shit in there
Released
too.
the same year as Dracula AD 1972.
Yeah, exactly. It is that, yeah.
Well, 72 was a fantastic year because that was the year I was born.
I was trying to hold back my erection on that one thing about Carolyn Monroe, but thanks, Derek. Now I'm all thinking about stuff. There's that, and oh my gosh. But yeah, lots of fun to be had in this movie, and there's a lot of history in here, and a lot of random monster effects, including that noise you guys are talking about, and I love a good cheesy monster, but this one has some science behind it too, so it keeps you interested along with having a cheesy monster, and I have to commend it for that.
Yeah, because the first time I ever seen this movie, when the monster dies midway in the movie, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Come on. Another random movie I love, but it's terrible. It's called The Hidden. and it's basically the monster jumps.
Yeah.
It goes from host to host, and I have no idea. I think I just wanted to mention The Hidden because I really like it a lot.
Yeah, Jason Goes to Hell also rips this movie off.
There you go. I do enjoy Jason Goes to Hell. And The Hidden. You know, I could, again, I could like both. Like the Dread movies. I could like both, damn it. You know. I'll kick it to...
I prefer The Raid.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. I'll kick it to Iris first. Iris first, and anything else you'd like to say about the film? What did she give it 1 to 10?
Well, let's see. I'm going to give this movie a 9, and it's because it just had everything I needed in it for me. There was the science, the pseudoscience, that gothic type of sci-fi, down to the locked room mystery murder, because basically the isolation of that group of people on the train in the middle of nowhere gives it that locked room murder mystery type of feel to it also. So yeah, I give it a 9.
Cool. Suzanne?
Well, another locked room mystery, and it's for me, I've always enjoyed it, but it's always been kind of the lamest. But I've always enjoyed the original Murder on the Orient Express. And watching it, every time I've watched it, the first thing that pops into my mind is the original Murder on the Orient Express, but with being from another planet. And once again, you've nailed it with locked room mystery. This movie, there's so much depth to it, and you don't even have to look that hard for it. It presents everything in a nice, neat little package. It is just, I just can't even, like I said, I felt like I watched it last night, and it was probably my 5th or 6th viewing of it. A little bit more seemed to come to the surface. And I'm seriously straight up with Iris on this. It's a 9. You can see aspects of this movie in so many other movies. And we'll get into that story when we talk about our next movie. But yeah, I'm straight up with a 9.
Cool. Derek?
Yeah, mic drop, bitches. But yeah, this is one of my favorite 70s films of all time. I love this movie with a passion. It's, I get more out of it with each viewing, which, like Suzanne said, you get more, and you get because I seen this movie wicked young, and I'm like, okay, that was a thing, but then I kept watching it and started to notice things about it. That's how, like, rewatches are key, people, and this movie gets better on every viewing, and it's up there for me as one of my go-tos to recommend to people that want to get into 70s horror. It has everything that I love about the 70s in it, and it's great. So for that reason, it's going to be a 10 out of 10 for me. I love this movie.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Yeah, I'm right there with him. Yeah, as far as like close enough, I'm going to give it an 8 though, because like Derek said, it requires rewatches, because there's going to be stuff you don't catch, and when you catch those things, it makes the movie all that much better. This is one of those things where, if you don't catch everything, you watch it again, it exponentially gets better. So where if you watch it the first time, like Derek, when you watched it younger, you probably thought it was more like a 6 or like a middle of the road. But when you dissect it and you realize all the stuff that is going on in this movie, it'll get higher and higher. So don't let my 8 fool you. Listen to their 9s and 10s, people, because they loved it, and you guys will probably love it too, but like I said, it might require a couple times to watch it, like Derek said. And
yeah, and don't take my 10 serious, folks, because I give Demons a 10 out.
I love Demons.
Rightfully so.
As well you should.
I do too.
Come on, man.
She's a friend of mine. God damn it.
Yeah. I can't pull off that white suit, but that man can, like nobody's business. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But next up, we're going to talk about a True Blue remake and classic in its own right. 1982's The Thing, that John Carpenter joint. Right after this trailer.
Mayday. 12 men have just discovered something. For 100,000 years, it was buried in the snow and ice. Now it has found a place to live. Inside. Where no one can see it, or hear it, or feel it.
I know I'm human. Some of you are still human. This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to, but it's vulnerable out in the open. If it takes us over, then it has no more enemies. Nobody left to kill it. And then it's won.
You guys gonna listen to Gary? He can be one of those things!
That's The Thing from 1982, of course directed by John Carpenter, written by Bill Lancaster, and starring a whole bunch of people. Of course, effects by Rob Bottin, a young Rob Bottin. Kurt Russell as MacReady, our bearded hero, of course. Wilford Brimley as, don't put your fingers in my mouth, Dr. Blair, because you freaked Gary out. Keith, he don't believe in that voodoo bullshit. David as Childs, lover of dogs. I have an autograph, and which is awesome. Richard Mazer as Clark. He signs his name, his character name, and he signs for the dog too. The dog's name was Zeb. The dog that is the name that became the thing. Yeah. So I'm a proud owner of that picture. T.K. Carter, who I know from Punky Brewster as Knowles. David Clennon, son of a bitch, as Palmer. Just letting the thing go murder those dogs. We'll talk about that in a minute. Things that make Gary cry. Richard Dysart as Dr. Copper. Charles Hallahan as Vance Morris. Peter Maloney as Bennings. Donald Moffat as Gary. These are all important. They're all in the thing. Joe Polis as Fuchs. Tom as G. Waits, who we talked about in The Warriors and Last Call of Torchies as Windows, and some people who play Norwegian people, and of course Adrienne Barbeau, that cheating bitch.
That's a cheating bitch.
Adrienne Barbeau is the cheating bitch. Who was his wife at the time, I believe. Is that true?
Checkmate. Yeah.
Yeah, girlfriend at the time, wanted to. This is a film, if you don't know the plot, I'll read it to you guys, just because you've been living under a rock, apparently. A research team in Antarctica is hunted by a shape-shifting alien that assumes the appearance of its victims. Yeah, big old cast, lots to talk about, not a lot to dismantle, I'm sure, because everybody's fucking seen it. But I'm going to kick it to Suzanne first.
Okay, straight up, this is in my top 15 favorite horror movies, or not even horror movies, favorite movies of all time. I didn't even have to watch this. I did want to, but, the day got away from me, and I apologize for that. But what can you say about this movie? Once again, this is one of those movies that if you are even remotely a horror fan, this is the movie you seek out. It's also one of John Carpenter's absolute best. In his heyday, this is straight up just amazing. And you mentioned when we were talking about Horror Express that it was based on Who Goes There by John Campbell. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because I've read that story, Who Goes There. I went after I finished it, surprisingly, AMC during Monster Vision did The Thing from Another Planet. And I think the most faithful adaptation of adaptation of that story is The Thing. I think John Carpenter really tore through that source material and created it's so superior to anything else that is tried. I love the cast. And honestly, if you look at a research station where they're going to be pretty much left there for 6 to 9 months, they could not have captured the essence of that better than they did. You're all dependent upon each other basically for survival. Make sure the doors are closed, bad things don't happen. And now you have this. The way the movie starts with the snipers trying to kill the dog, and they take the dog shelter. And I don't know. I know I am so scatterbrained right now, and I apologize for that. I love everything about this movie. I love the evil fucking chess pitch. And I think this is one of my favorite movies Kurt Russell was ever in. Followed only by Big Trouble in Little China, but that's another movie for another time.
Hell yeah.
It's no Tango and Cash, but it fits the bill, okay?
But I think, once again, we keep bringing it up, but it is, once again, it's a smaller version of At the Mountains of Madness by Lovecraft. They came, they saw, they went insane after they were tortured.
That's every Lovecraft story, though.
Oh, it very, very much so. But I mean, he actually spent more than 10 pages discussing the madness. But I mean, once again, another thing that adds to this is just Rob Bottin's effects. When one of these years, I'm totally going to do it. I'm doing Jello shots with everybody's names on them. And I hope you guys come to Chicago for that. But when you're sitting there watching it, even though you know what's going to happen, when he sticks the hot wire in there and that explodes, you just feel the electricity of everybody trying to get away. And Richard Masur and the dog. That was, I think, one of the first movies I saw with that kind of, major special effect. There was that special time in the 80s where you had The Howling, you had American Werewolf in London, you had The Thing, you had some of these master makeup artists, and you were genuinely thrown back because you had no idea what was going to happen. And this movie kind of takes me back there. Seeing, every time I watch The Thing, it seems like I watch it for the first time every time. And I love the ending. I think everyone has heard me bitch, whine, and moan about the only perfect ending is where everybody dies. But sometimes you kind of want some of them to live, even though you know that it's too bleak and they're not going to survive. But you have that itty bitty, for some characters, a little bit of hope. But this is just a fantastic movie. It is a must. And I'm going to leave it there. I'm sure after when it's somebody else's turn, I'll think of something else. But at the moment, I'm just going to leave it there.
Cool. Iris.
All right, so this movie. I got to see this movie in the movie theater. The first time I sat and watched it, it was with my parents. And I begged to see it again. And this is, okay, way back then, children, in the 80s, you could sit, you'd pay for your, to go in. And there was usually 2 movies. And you'd go in, and if you were halfway through the movie, you could sit through until you watch, and then you would leave. I begged my parents if we could sit and watch and just stay so we could watch this again, because it was just mind-blowing. The very first time I watched this, it was just so beautiful. And even at that age, I was I was already reading Lovecraft and stuff like that, so I immediately recognized what this was, and I was in complete awe that something like this was on the screen. And of course, as a kid, I was just and I still am. I'm a very big reader. And let's see, I think it was like my sixth or seventh grade literature class. We were reading a few of the social commentary type of science fiction, and one of those stories was The Thing from Another World. And of course, we were going into what exactly that was a social commentary of. And of course, it's that fear, that paranoia, that thing of there's a monster around the corner and it could be you or it could be you or it could be you. And of course, 1951, the breakdown was, of course, what was the big thing? It was the Red Scare, right? Everybody was a communist, and the communists were hiding in, they were hiding behind the curtain, and they were hiding in this person. And so just that fear and paranoia that this movie just beautifully brings out, right? Because Carpenter is so skilled in building an atmosphere and building tension at the same time, right? And even with the very first thing you see is this helicopter and a dog. And what person doesn't get tense when a dog's gonna die on screen? Every fucking person in this that I know, we get tense. We're like, oh fuck, you're not gonna shoot the dog, are you? And then this beautiful score, boom, boom, right? And it's so organic. I mean, it's like a fucking heartbeat, right? And you're right there with that dog, and it's running, and your heartbeat is probably just going with the song itself. And and it's this, then you find out it's Ennio, of course. Who else could it be, right? And then it's just, and it's organic throughout, right? This whole movie is just organic because you have the isolation, you have, this person, we don't trust them, so we're going to stick them over here. But then, well, is it really that person, right? And then, okay, well, now we have to test everybody, but we're like, no, you're not. Well, what's going on right now? It's exactly what's going on right now with that. Like, no, I don't want to get tested. I'm not going to have the vaccine. I don't know what's in it. It's stuff like that. So it's just this mistrust, this paranoia, and it is something that is it's so tangible for everyone because everybody feels this emotion at one time or another in their life. That paranoia, that mistrust of, oh, something's just not right here, right? And this is this whole movie. And then you get this beautiful ending of, well, shit, he died, she died, everybody died. Oh, and then there's the she, right? There is not a single female in this movie, which is another thing that I fucking love because there was no need for that, right? The story itself is what hooks you in. You don't need tits and ass to kind of keep you interested. It's
that
was
another Lovecraft.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, that was another thing. Lovecraft never wrote a single female character, and I think that Carpenter carried that through in this movie.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. I mean, with The Thing of Another World, there was that female, but not because you needed tits and ass, but it was because you had to have that. Well, it's a damsel in distress. We must protect the damsel in distress, right? Because that was the theme back then.
Then again, it was like one of those 1950s sci-fi females to where they had some intelligence and they had some independence. They weren't all the way damsels in distress. And the one in Thing from the World from the 50s really wasn't either. So I think that in that movie it works. In this movie, But
it was more the perception of damsel in distress than an actual damsel in distress.
Exactly. It was kind of like Iris in, I think it was, The Strange Planet, where she's the doctor, but it's, the two manly astronauts to keep her safe when she was, the one person that knew the science. But, they didn't need that here. And I think it's because the story just took you where you needed to be. The action is in there. You've got beautiful gore. Botton's creatures were fucking amazing. I mean, there was first time ever that I had seen a practical creature like that. And,
I agree 100%.
Up in the big screen, it was just so big, right? And here you are sitting in the dark, and there's this just huge creature with throwing tentacles, which are very, phallic, and it was
randomized and shit.
Right, exactly, and then there's the head that crawls around, and it was just gorific. It was a gorific, beautifully filmed movie. I mean, yeah, like you, Suzanne, this is a go-to. This is a This is a canon. This belongs in the canon of sci-fi horror. And if you say that you're into this and you haven't seen this movie, you're not into it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Derek.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. All right. The Thing, 1982. What can I say that hasn't been said already about this movie? To me, this is peak Carpenter, which, you know, I love a lot of John Carpenter movies. I think this is probably his best horror film. And I know it's controversial to say that because everyone's like, oh, I thought Halloween was. Halloween's a classic. It's in its own right. But I think this is where he gets to do something that he always wanted to do. This feels like a movie that's totally John Carpenter waving his big director dick around. And he's just masterful at it. The cinematography by Dean Cundey, top notch. And the thing that I love about The Thing is watching reactions of people on YouTube watching The Thing for the first time. Because, you know, you're right, Iris, about the dog scene. Because everyone's like, oh, not the dog. Why are you going to go shoot the dog? And then the reveal happens. They're like, holy shit, the Swedes were right. They're not Swedes, they're Norwegian.
Norwegians, yeah.
Yeah, but, the fucking Kurt Russell's character, I love that he's just, the beginning of the movie, he's just like, just a guy that's supposed to stay in his hut and get drunk. And he he has to become a leader in this situation because he's like, I'm the only one who knows what the fuck I'm doing. And, you know, I like his character a lot because there's some underlines that he has, like, stress from the war because, you know, he has that small line, I'm a light sleeper, child, you know. So there's some paranoia, you know, with his character throughout it. The thing I love about this, and I mentioned Quatermass earlier, but there's another Quatermass movie called The Quatermass Experiment, which is about this astronaut that comes back from outer space, and he starts to mutate slowly. Like his hands turn into something that kind of looks like Bennon's hands in this movie. And then the final form of this thing looks like the thing in the dog kennel. So yeah, Carpenter is a huge Quatermass fan. Actually, funny enough, he actually has an interview where he's talking about that movie on the Blu-ray release that I have. So yeah, he borrows a lot from, you know, Lovecraft and, you know, those old sci-fi Hammer movies that he loves. But he also borrows a lot from another movie that kind of gets lost in the conversation when talking about paranoia and horror. And that is a movie called Matango, aka Attack of the Mushroom People, which was directed by Ishiro Honda, which was actually based on a short story by the guy who inspired Lovecraft, John, what the fuck was his last name? Yeah, there's a lot of, it's about this group of socialites from Japan that are on a boat ride, and they end up getting shipwrecked on this island, and all that's on this island are these giant mushrooms. And there's no food. They run out of food. One guy is stealing food and keeping it for himself. And then they start eating these mushrooms, and they find out everything on this island used to be human, and this fungi is turning these people into mushrooms. Yes, the paranoia strikes in, and they been bombarded and they're getting attacked, and they don't trust each other. People end up killing one another, and he borrows a lot from that because, you know, even he says that Honda was one of his cinematic gods in that sense, but he borrows a lot of other things. Like, it's kind of interesting that this is probably one of the only Carpenter films that he didn't actually do the score for. It's kind of interesting in that aspect because, you know, he's a composer in his own right, but, you know, he loves Westerns, and he's like, I'm going to work with Ennio Morricone that build like this, because the thing is, it feels like a upside down siege narrative where these people are stuck inside because they can't go out because it's frozen. They have to be, it's a siege from the cold, but it's also a siege inside with one another. So it's, you know, because a lot of the times Carpenter's movies are like disguised Westerns in a sense where, you know, Escape from New York, They Live, they all have those Western overtones to them. And this one does too, and I love that Morricone score. Like Iris said earlier, the film starts with this heartbeat, and it only comes a few times later in the movie. Like there's one scene later where, you know, before the power gets shut off in the station, but then it comes in at the end, and the ending is the most beautiful part of this movie because it's ominous. Because, you know, another thing I like to watch is people's reactions to the end, and they're like, "What the fuck?" You know, like, who, you know, is he the thing? You know, is they the thing? You know, are they both not the thing? You know, it's kind of cool in that aspect because you don't know. It's ominous, which is a thing that, you know, people don't realize. And unfortunately, since we have 4,000 Halloween sequels now, I love the ending of the original Halloween because it's also ominous. And it gets kind of ruined when they try to explain shit in every fucking movie, in every different Choose Your Adventure sequel. But
yeah, this is one of my favorite endings because you're right, it is completely ominous. What is going to happen? Do they live? Do they die? Or they really can't. What? I mean, you can blow it up, but is it possible a portion of it is going to lay dormant in the tundra long after they're gone?
Well,
yeah,
you know, they're sitting there, you know, they're talking to each other, and there's a line. It pretty much explains everything. What's going to happen when Kurt Russell McCready says, you know, maybe we shouldn't get out of here. I paraphrase, of course, but that means that they're gonna sit there until they fucking freeze to death and freeze over, because one of them thinks that the other one is the thing, and because the one may or may not have interacted with Blair, who is the thing at the end of this movie, you know, and
I'm okay now.
I'm okay now.
I want to come back inside.
So good. So good.
I'm okay now.
He builds a news that clearly won't support him. Lovely guy, though, you know. It's
yeah.
Continue, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's good. On rewatch, especially on the last few rewatches with the 4K, I like when you don't know, but once you know who actually becomes the thing, I like... This is a little spoiler if you haven't seen The Thing, real quick. I gotta talk about it. I like how Norris and Palmer are kind of like these background characters for the movie where they don't really say a lot until they have to keep the image up. But once you see them, you know, they're very quiet. Like, you know, that whole scene with like when Gary's flipping out and he's like, Norris, you take lead. He doesn't know how to react at first.
But I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. But it's great on rewatch because you don't know that until it actually happens, and when you rewatch it, it's like, oh, okay, because you know then Palmer is like that too, but you think it when the first time watch it's because Palmer's a fucking space cadet. You know? Shit, Doc, I'll give you a lift. Thanks for thinking about it, though. You know. But yeah, and you know it makes those scenes even more impactful, especially when you're watching with somebody who hasn't seen it for the first time.
Yeah, first time watchers, it's a lovely thing too. It's like you're not watching the movie, you're watching them and their reaction. And then when they look at you and they're like,
yeah,
is that, and you're like, you just like smile and nod.
I'm gonna send you the guys a YouTube clip. This guy made like this, edited all like the reaction videos together of them watching different scenes of The Thing.
Oh, please do.
And the dog one's great. Everyone's like, what the fuck?
Don't kill the dog, god damn it!
And then after the reveal, what the fuck?
Yeah, me myself, yeah, it's a great film. It's not a film I liked right away because I seen it way too early. So much like Horror Express, if you don't care for the science aspects of movies like this, you're not going to enjoy it as much as you think it is. There's a lot of science involved, and when they find out what the thing is and how it replicates and blah blah blah, you know, there's a lot going on there. So as like 8-year-old me, who's seen stuff like Halloween and is used to that kind of stuff from Carpenter, he would really hated Prince of Darkness too. But he loves it now because it's the Devil's Bukkake. You gotta love that in your mouth, right? You know, that's
Oh my God! Thanks, Gary.
Green devil jizz all up in your mouth, man. Come on now, watch out, they spit. But
oh yeah.
You've been taunting me with that for years.
Prince of Darkness is just great because it's Donald Pleasance and Victor Wong acting each other with their dicks out. Look,
Yep.
it's great.
Very, very fun. But this movie, you know, I love all the characters in the movie because they all have like their moments. You know, I always get really sad when Windows gets killed because he's just trying to be helpful while everybody thinks he's the thing, but he gets unceremoniously eaten by this creature who splits his head open and then grabs his torso and twirls him around, and it's just
after the Jello shots.
He downloads Windows.
He downloads Windows. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, that's good. Oh man, Knowles, our cook of the film, who just wants people to keep their dirty drawers out of his kitchen garbage. You know, he likes it clean. You know,
why he's jamming the Stevie Wonder on rollerblades?
Gotta love it, man. Gotta love him. Childs, you know, Keith David. I love him many things, and you know he's as cool in real life as he is in these movies. And really talked about the elephant in the room. You know, once the dog gets inside, fucking Palmer makes Clark put him away with the other dogs, and it's really telling, especially if you've seen the film before, what happens when the dog gets in the cage. He comes in real slow, very sinister-like, and then he lays down. And the other dogs are positioned in a way where, you know what, something don't smell right, so we're gonna lay over here. And then what happens next, and if you're a dog lover, an animal lover, there's the thing as the dog, and the dog starts to absorb these animals, and they're crying, and they're clawing against the wooden doors. You can see their claws digging in, desperately trying to escape, and it's really hard to watch as an animal lover, but I even fast forwarded part of it during this viewing because, much like Derek, much like all of us, because I share my Vudu account with these lovely ladies, this looks great in 4K, so you should watch it in 4K, and I did because I didn't get to watch it yet in 4K, but very sad. So as in Halloween, you know, where Michael kills Lester the dog, you just kind of see the aftermath of him killing Lester the dog. In this one, you see the desperation of these animals and the love that Clark has for these animals when they're gonna shoot the rest of these animals, and Clark has to be held back, and you can see the genuine emotion on Richard Mazur's face, that you know, his genuine love for these animals, and because that's like, I guess that's his job on the base, is to watch these dogs and to care for these dogs, and it'll get you every time, son. Yeah. Dr. Blair's freak out moment, Wilford Brimley just losing his mind with an axe, just destroying everything, and
they want to be
and that's always awesome, and the aftermath of that, and the part that freaks me out the most when they go back to the camp, and he's the thing now. Blair is the thing now. He's rebuilding the ship to leave, I guess, and is it Palmer? Palmer that's left, right? He's down there with him, and he sticks his fingers in Palmer's face and starts to shake until he starts to put them in his mouth hole. And I'm genuinely, there's a lot of creature effects in this movie, but somebody sticking their fingers in my mouth and wiggling them around, it kind of freaks me out a little bit more than any creature in this film.
And the after effect after?
And the after effect after, yes.
Makes him a giant bowling bag.
Yeah. Oh, it's nasty to me, you know. Donald Moffat as Gary, who has the classic.
This fucking couch.
Yeah. Spent all winter tied to this fucking couch. It's so good. The line delivery of that, I can't do it myself because I ain't got those kind of pipes.
Benz was my friend. I knew him for 10 years.
Yeah. So much to love in this movie. But like you guys said, the score, and I think Morricone, watch some Carpenter films, listen to some Carpenter scores, because there's some beats in here that not that he borrowed, but I guess in tribute, you know, our maestro took some beats from Carpenter, and because you could tell even in the beginning of the film that it feels like a Carpenter score, but in certain parts it's not, obviously. And I gotta love the maestro for paying tribute to a guy who really barely cut his teeth in the industry, but hell, my favorite Carpenter score of all time is still Precinct 13, and that was one of his first ones. So good.
No, I still love Escape from New York. That's my ringtone.
I'm gonna let Derek finish. There you go. Yeah.
But it's so random when you hear some of the score of The Thing and The Hateful Eight, because spoiler alert, a lot of the score for The Hateful Eight is actually unused music from The Thing. And to think that this score was nominated for a worst Razzie, and The Hateful Eight score won an Oscar for best soundtrack.
Yeah, this film
crazy.
This film was not.
There's something seriously fucking wrong there.
Well, this film was not successful when it came out. It wasn't. I mean, I could say that about 6 Carpenter films at least. They weren't successful when they came out. This Big Trouble in Little China was not successful. But what's great about our little community and our little circle of friends, us video store nerds who would go every weekend to go rent tapes that you never seen before or watch them on HBO. They pick up traction. And this went from cult classic to a film that everybody talks about now.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why this movie bombed, of course, is it came out the same weekend as another Universal movie, which also stars another alien.
E.T.
Yeah.
Fuck E.T.
That hurt it. That definitely hurt it. But everything they said, great effects by Rob Bottin. I was watching part of this with my cousin's 8-year-old child, and she doesn't like this kind of stuff. We were at the part with the heart paddle scene, and I was like, wait for it. Something cool's gonna happen. Wait,
yeah.
And she watched it. He goes, "Oh, that's so nasty." I was like, "Yeah, but it's real. Like they didn't have computers to make effects back in these days, so somebody built that. Don't you think that's cool?" I asked her, and she goes, "Yeah, but it's still gross." So she's 8 years old. She don't care, but
it is pretty gross, especially when the head's fucking falling off and all that green shit comes out of it. It's like,
but it's important. It's important to show people stuff like that though that are young to say, hey, they didn't have computers, so somebody had to build this from the ground up.
Yeah, they actually homaged that scene in the Ed Chapter 2.
Yes, they did.
And even has Bill Hader say, "You gotta be fucking kidding me."
Yeah, they did that. They did that in that movie.
No.
Yeah.
I know.
And actually, there's another homage, because if you guys didn't know, I have a kaiju podcast.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's underwater kaiju from outer space. Where, we actually, there's this Godzilla movie that came out a few years ago called Godzilla King of the Monsters, and Godzilla King Ghidorah, the base that King Ghidorah is at, is actually called Outpost 32. Do you know why?
I wonder.
Because it's a homage to The Thing, because The Thing was Outpost 31.
Nice.
Yeah, and actually, spoiler alerts if you haven't seen that movie, Ghidorah's head actually gets ripped off and it grows back, and it kind of, like when it's growing, it actually starts to spout like a little tongue and shit, kind of like the dog alien thing in The Thing. It kind of looks like that.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that. I have that movie. I'm going to have to throw it on now.
Yeah, I love that movie, and I love that they just throw out those little Thing references in it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I watched it, but I didn't watch it.
Oh, no. See, I had to watch it because I have I'm nurturing this love of kaiju in my grandson, Victor. And the first time that he was playing, and he was like, "Hey, Grandma, come play with my kaijus." I almost teared up.
Oh God, I would have.
And then he goes to school. He comes back, "Grandma." I'm like, "What's up, buddy?" He goes, "None of the kids in my kindergarten class know what kaijus are. I had to tell them." I'm like, "Well, good for you, buddy.
Good for you, man. I was there, buddy. I know what you're talking about. And it's good shit. It's good shit. And you start them out young. I actually got my little nephew Godzilla action figure for Christmas. So Yeah, it's always good in the hood when you have to get your young ones into kaiju.
Heck yes.
Yeah, and
I just keep nurturing my 55-year-old child.
hey, man, when I saw Godzilla Kings of the Monsters in the theaters, I was like bawling when Mothra was on screen and the music
Oh my
starts.
God, me too.
Yeah, oh God, that was the one scene that I actually
my
dropped what I was doing, because my favorite part about the original Mothra is I love the two little the little pixie girls.
Yeah.
For some reason, them calling for Mothra, that was, I have no idea why I just got sucked into that little teeny tiny aspect. But when I saw the two little girls, the two little pixies, I'm like, oh my God, Mothra's coming. Mothra's coming! So everyone in my neighborhood, because I'm sure that my voice does carry, I'm sure everyone in my neighborhood knew that Mothra was coming.
And then that's when Anvil starts playing Mothra, dun, 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 Mothra.
Wait, did you say Anvil?
Yeah, they did a song called Mothra.
I had no idea Anvil did a song called Mothra.
Now
I got to
she's
go
gonna
listen to that.
right after this recording.
I'm like going and queuing it up now.
Hell yeah.
Matura. No, but it's the thing, man.
How did we get to Mothra from the thing?
I don't know.
It's Masura.
Masura? I'm sorry.
Monsters, baby.
Masura, yeah.
Masura. Donganurando night. See you.
Side note, it's great. It's great when you're in the theater because in that movie it's like an orchestrated version.
Yeah.
But you know the words anyways.
Right, exactly.
Oh my God, I was shocked. This happened a few years ago, but all of a sudden Willis, so very, very, very confused, was like, I didn't know that there was a song called Godzilla. I'm like, yeah, it was done in the 70s by Blue Oyster Cult.
Oh, hell yes.
And he was like, I had no idea. It was,
Fuck yeah, rock box.
I ain't got no ideas that there's a Godzilla song. You actually do a much better Willis than I do, Derek.
No, it was hilarious.
I had no idea there was no fucking Godzilla song from the 70s. The 70s is when Suspiria came out, and fuck that movie.
No, it was so cool when I took Victor to go see Godzilla King of the Monsters, and Godzilla starts playing at the end of the movie, but it's not the Blue Oyster Cult. He turns around and goes, I like the older song better, Grandma. I'm like, yeah, me too.
Oh my God.
Me too.
Yeah. The cover grew on me. It fits the rest of the.
I hate the cover.
I kind of like it. I like it because it still has like that the hype men screaming in the background. Go, chia, ra, Masura.
You guys are better than that, and we're going on some tangents here, so I'm gonna kick it back down.
Yeah, sorry, let's bring it
No,
back.
it's okay. I'm pulling the reins on this bitch. I'm gonna kick it back to Iris and say anything else you'd like to say about Das Dinga from 1982, and what's her rating 1 to 10? Obviously, we know what it probably is, but
Oh, dude, this is a complete 10 for me. It's just another one of those beautiful films. It's canon, and shit, I don't know what more I can say than what I did. I mean, I get just so excited. I don't know if you could tell when I was talking about this whole movie, but yeah, it's a 10 out of 10.
Cool, Derek.
Mic drop, 10 out of 10. I said all I could say about it. It's fantastic. Like I said, it's in my top 3 favorite horror films of all time, which also includes Demons, I might add.
You go, Derek.
Hell yeah.
We're still on the same page.
Hell yeah. It's good shit.
Suzanne.
I dare anybody to find any fault with this movie. You can't. The movie is from beginning to end. This story is perfect. The scenery is perfect. I can't come up with a flaw. And I mean, there's several movies I feel this way about. But this one and a few others are straight up perfection. There's no improvement. Stop with the goddamn remakes that need to be done. It is a 10. And if anybody can find any flaw with this, I will do my best not to punch you.
In the prequel's defense, those filmmakers want to make a whole.
God.
No, listen, because this is very true. They wanted to make a whole other film than what got made, because when they got there, they said, well, you know what, all this isn't working. We're throwing all your ideas for practical effects out the window. It's all going to be computers. So, in the filmmaker's defense, which, it's not an awful film, but it could have been something much more, this prequel, to the thing. So, I'll give them that. So
I don't know. The thing that bothered me about it, and we're going on another side tangent, is why adding the American characters. I get it for audience to like, I don't want to go see a fucking all Norwegian subtitled version of the thing, but
it doesn't make any sense for the direction they went. Yeah,
but I would love it too,
Yeah, but yeah, it's a 10. It's damn near perfect, if not perfect as it is, because and watching all these effects in 4K only makes it better. So just worthy investment in 4K.
Yeah. I just wanted to add, because we did a review of Beetlejuice earlier, and we watched that in 4K. And I had some gripes with some of the effects in Beetlejuice when watching it on 4K, but these effects still hold up today. They're like some of the best practical effects ever on film.
Slimy ones too.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's what makes a lot of these movies for me, is the fact that actual art was involved and not some moron in their mom's basement in front of a computer.
Yeah.
Someone actually put, Jesus, I can't even count how many hours into doing this to the point where it looks fucking flawless.
Well, the dude caught pneumonia. He had ulcers. He was stupid, overexhausted. So, yeah, there was a lot of literally blood and tears. Sweat, blood, and tears in that.
Yeah.
And it shows. It's perfect. It literally is perfect.
It rocks.
Indeed it does.
I have 4 copies of this fucking movie on Blu-ray. That should tell you something.
Well,
I've got at least 3.
Well, some look better than other ones. So, I used to have 4 copies of Pumpkinhead because they all had different extras on them.
I just bought that Steelbook of Pumpkinhead because I'm like, I'm in.
I
go big or go home. You
go big, go home, for sure. I have to look this up real fast now because I know Rob Bottin did the effects for The Fly. It's just, I was curious about The Fly too now, just to see.
I thought that was Chris Wallace.
It was Chris Wallace that directed the movie. He did do the effects though, and neither did Rob Bottin. I was gonna blame him for 2 dog cries in my life, so now I can't do that because The Fly 2 has a pretty tragic scene with the dog too. So
yeah,
I can't blame him for that one. But that's it for the thing. There's tons more we could talk about. We're not gonna, because we could be here all fucking night doing this shit.
Indeed.
You never know.
You never know, man. But we'll be right back. We're gonna close out the show.
This is a test of the emergency podcasting system. Listen to the Psychosemantic Podcast. Politics, movies, and political movies. Find us on Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, LegionPodcasts.com. The Psychosemantic Podcast.
Masterful show, guys. Special thanks to our man here, Derek Borgeois, who is on many shows, and he could tell us all about him right now. Bless you, Suzanne. I'm sorry.
Sure. First off, it was God bless you too, Suzanne. It's an honor to be on, because behind the scenes thing, I was actually on an episode of Simmer B, so technically that episode wasn't released because it was lost on the fortunate fire that happened.
Yep.
With Gary's.
We're going to do it again, though, guys, because we already talked to Carly about this one, so when she gets some time away, Carly and Derek come back, and we'll do a film that makes Suzanne cry, probably. I don't know. We'll think about it,
Yeah.
What movie?
The Plague Dogs, baby. Come on now.
Hell no.
and
White Dog
and Isle of Dogs too. That's fun, you know.
Yeah, Isle of Dogs has a good ending. There's a happy ending.
It does have a happy ending. Come on,
No,
Sue.
I doesn't think so.
Get over it. Get over it. Come on.
But yeah, so it was an honor to make this my first official Cinema Beef episode that I the guest on, and it was an honor to get to talk about two of my favorite movies together. It was awesome, and honored because me and Gary and Suzanne have recorded a bunch of times before, but it's an honor to actually record with Iris because I've been actually listening to her for a while.
Thank you.
We both survived Mike Merriman.
Indeed.
So there's that, because I'm on a show with Mike that we know as No More Room in Hell with I Do with Mr. Venom. And yeah, I usually, they make me watch movies. I make them watch movies. I think I'm going to troll pick some fucking terrible movies for them one day, because they were like, I tried to bring good movies, like the infamous Without Warning review, where it's like me just loving the movie, and they're like, yeah, this movie's not great. It has terrible sound issues. I'm like, it's fucking awesome. It has Jack Palance and Martin Landau fucking acting their heart out, but
and flying space vaginas with teeth.
Exactly. What's not
that movie used to scare the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was like one of those like midnight HBO movies that I snuck out of bed and sat in front of the TV to watch. And the second I saw the fucking flying disc thing, I was fucking terrified. And then when you see the alien, I was fucking scared. That movie, that's like one of my original movies that scared the shit out of me. And then I wanted to find more movies that scared me that bad.
Hell yeah. But yeah, go back and listen to that episode. It's a classic. It actually built a lot of future things that happen on the show. But we also do another No More Room in Hell show called No More Room in Hell Presents Creature Comforts, which is me and Mr. Venom and Mr. Donanelli talking about all types of creature features. We actually have an episode planned where we're going to be doing the infamous film Santa Jaws.
Oh, have you guys done Shark Exorcist?
Not yet. We actually are only 3 episodes in on the show. Just started.
Okay.
But we'll save that for a rainy day.
Santa Jaws, though, it's decent. I'll give it that.
It'll be the first time.
Is it better than Great White?
It has a shark with actually a Santa Claus hat on its fin.
Yes, it's better than Great White. House Shark I can recommend. That's better than Great White.
House Shark's amazing. Ghost Sharks are amazing. But yeah, that's a great show. It's mostly, that's usually the more non-kaiju thing, because we saved all the kaiju stuff for Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, which you could find on Legion Podcast under the Kill the Cast banner, which I do with Mr. Venom, Donanelli, and Mr. Jerry Herring. I also have a podcast known as They're Here, which I do on the Cut to the Chase feed with Lacey Lou. And my main show, which I started very long time ago now, 5 years in different incantations, is Cinema Attack, which me and my buddies Matt and Dubby, which I met on YouTube, just review movies and talk shit about them. We do good movies, we do terrible movies, we watch terrible movies for commentaries, which ironically enough, I actually missed the last commentary episode. It would be the first episode of Cinema Attack that I'm actually not on. Where Matt, Dubby, and Mr. Venom was tortured with the movie Bloodbeat. Yeah.
That's fun.
Ghost Samurai in the Woods.
Yeah, the girl beats off and then the samurai appears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking of something else. Never mind.
Yeah, it's a great drunken commentary movie. But yeah, look out for that. You can find that on most podcatchers. And of course, Gary also kind of hinted to it, but we have a bunch of shows recorded that are going to be coming out soon for a little podcast that we do on the Legion Patreon feed known as Blood from the Core, where we look at New York horror or thriller movies. And we have a bunch of great episodes. And actually, the next one that we're going to be doing, going to be recording it very soon. It's actually going to be one of my picks. Is we're going to be doing Andy Milligan's The Ghastly Ones. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Get into some Godfather of 42nd Street right there. Iris knows.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's going to be a first-time watch for Gary and a second or third-time watch for me because I have that giant Milligan box set, so I'm going to go to town. But
Nice.
good stuff. So that's about it for me. I have a few other projects and guest spots that are out there, like a big shout out to Ricky Morgan at Dr. Movie MR. I just did a show with him with Zombie 4. We talked about that Claudio Fagazzo classic. It's hilarious. So you can check it out on YouTube and Legion. But yeah, it's about me. And also, like Gary said, Giant Children of the Corn retrospective just dropped today of this recording. So look out for that. Teapots.
Nice. Iris, what you got coming up, girl?
Well, of course, we just got done with Blood Rage, which is so much fun. And, we've got, Lasser on, and, we just have to talk like this. And then we have Silent Night, Deadly Night that we're going to be doing on Saturday. So that's going to be fun. And that's pretty much it for me, besides, being on here and chatting away.
Cool. Suzanne, what's in FW coming up, girl?
We just finished up and looked for Christmas Blood. It was fantastic. We're doing some few more Christmas movies. We're going to be doing Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 and 5. And you want to be there for that. And then we're actually going to start delving into something that I am so looking forward to. It's called Movies Willis Hates. So we're going to be doing everything Willis doesn't like.
Necromantic 1 and 2?
Oh, no. He hates the Babadook. He hates Midsummer. He hates Hereditary. So we are going to... They keep messing with me with remakes, so I'm getting my revenge on Willis now.
Oh, yeah, that's a Suspiria remake. I don't understand the love for it.
I don't either. I just think it is a waste of fucking time.
It's just an old dude walking in fucking Berlin.
Oh no, it's Tilda Swinton dressed up as a man walking in Berlin. Okay, yeah, I saw this. It's called We Need to Talk About Kevin. Oh wait, no, she was a woman in that. Never mind.
And there's no Flash.
No, I mean, I don't take anything back. Tilda Swinton is Tilda Swinton, but she put like 8 different roles in the piece of shit remake, and Luca fucka whatever. I don't see. I watched a couple of his movies trying to think, okay, maybe, even though I know straight up I was going to be dead to it, but I'm not a fan of his work. I don't like him. I don't think that he's like trying to be this avant-garde type director, and he's missing the avant and the garde. He's just a fucking hack.
Hell yeah, mic drop.
Bam. Boom, bang, boom. Suspiria. One of the most elaborate games of Clue ever played. It was Susie Banyan in the conservatory with the peacock feather. I solved the game, people, see? Man, oh man. Yeah, all the shows you can hear me on, you can hear on legionpodcast.com. This one, 2 Jigman commentaries, Last Call of Torchies, which I do with my brothers Lee Russell and Cameron Scott. We're burning and burning and burning for you once again with some Burning for Springwood recording very, very soon. Again, if anybody wants to be a guest on the show, let me know. I know Cameron had some interest, so he might be on a couple of those episodes. We're going to stockpile some so you guys could hear about some shitty TV. We're going to talk about it. Because, the man gave us his endorsement, so we're going to say, hey, we got to finish it now, y'all. But, if you guys haven't heard the latter episodes of Burning for Springwood, I got a soundbite from the man himself, Robert Englund, so check it out.
Did you share that with me?
I don't know. I could somewhere. I'll look for it. I got to pull it off an episode anyway, so I will send it to you. Good times. Support the Legion Patreon, as Derek said. As low as $2 a month, it'll get you some early releases, some exclusive releases. You see those lovely people at the Friday Nightmares. They leave their stuff on there for a little while, and then released on the main feed. I want to entice you guys to join the main feed, so the bonus episodes of Last Call of Torchies and the regular episodes of Blood from the Core you can exclusively find on Legion Podcast Patreon for as low as $2 a month. It's not much to ask for, you know. That'll purchase one small child in a third world country a bowl of cereal every day of the week, and you know, it'll give you so much entertainment, people. You know.
Cue the Sarah McLaughlin.
Oh yeah.
No, Sally Struthers. Cue Sally Struthers, please.
Cue both. Fuck it.
Cue both, man.
Woo! I'm dating myself. Man, I gotta quit talking.
It's like you watch.
I hate it when I do that.
You watch those commercials with your animals. They do something particularly shitty in the house. You say, "You see how good you got it. You see how good you got it." You know.
That dog looking at you the same way as the dogs in the
that dog is sitting in the rain underneath a piece of cardboard. You see how good you got it, goddammit. You know. I've done it before to my dogs. They're like, "Hey, see how good you got it? You see how good you got it over there?" But like I'm a fucking ghetto house mother or something.
No, I give them the dollar store treats and then give them the real treats and like, see how good you have it.
But yeah, that's about it for this one.
My dogs are...
Go for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my dogs are more spoiled than most children.
I realize in our release schedule that the holiday show will come closer to New Year's, so if we could fit something else in, we just might. It might be a commentary or something for some holiday jam that will be revealed when it comes out, if it comes out. So if you don't hear that, our holiday or New Year's / Christmas show is going to be a face in the crowd in female trouble, where the theme is criminals who become like pop culture icons. Divine and female trouble as Dawn Davenport, and of course Andy Griffith in a role you would not expect him to be in. So if you don't know what a face in the crowd is, go look it up, because he plays a heel in this one. He's not Sheriff Andy in this movie at all, to any extent. So go check it out before you listen to the episode. And that's it for this one. This has been the Sin and Beef Podcast, where if you've got beef, we've got the grinder. See you guys next time.
Stay beefy.
Ow.
Ah.